All right, cool. Here we go. So I wanted to kind of bring us together on today's call to just kick off with a couple things about the importance of tracking, like tracking everything that we do, and then also talking a little bit about following up. I know just from personal experience, past conversations with a lot of the team, as well as a lot of the leaders and mentors that I'm working with and have close relationships with, the follow-up and tracking is where most people lose it in business and honestly in anything in life. I made a Facebook post about consistency over intensity the other day on Facebook, and I really talked about on the post, how important it is to track what we're doing. We win in the inches. And that goes with business, that goes with sports, that goes with honestly, anything that we do in life. And so it's super important. You guys, we all have been trading for quite some time. We understand how important it is to track what we do with our trades, measure our progress, because that's how if we're not tracking it, how do we know if we're even making progress? How do we know if, we're actually moving the ball forward and making improvements? We know where we can course correct and we know where we can adjust. So it's so important that we not only track what we do, obviously in trading. I have an entire, Google Sheets where I track all my trades. So I'm able to see, all right, this is where, I was able to get into this trade. This is where I was able to enter. This is why I did what I did. So I track everything. And I encourage, obviously, you guys to do that too. I know they talk about it a lot on the sessions, but the same mindset that and energy that we bring to the charts, we've got to bring to business as well. So that's why I really wanted to take this time to do kind of talk about that. And then we can talk about it afterwards together. But the importance of tracking. I've had a lot of people in the past, 6, 12, 18, 24 months ago to even, right now ask me, how do you track what you do? And Tony and I were actually having this conversation the other day. Wow, everybody's on here. This is awesome. What's up, guys? So Tony and I were having this conversation the other day about, how do you track what you do, your follow-ups, your exposures. And one thing that really works for me, and I've shown you guys before, but I'll show you again, just because it's really, really convenient. It's really simple. A lot of us may track our exposures on a piece of paper. I kind of went back and forth to doing that. It's totally personal preference. If you find it more convenient and just easier and more accessible to write it down on paper, and it's more organized for you that way, then do it on paper. For me though, I'll share my screen so you guys can see. And if you need a copy or a template of, what I'm doing with this and what it looks like, just send me a message or let me know in here and I'll put it in a group chat. So basically, all of us have probably listened to the most recent call that Christian Jukes did with us when he was over at our apartment. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my thoughts together. Christian Jukes did a mentorship thing when he came over the other day out here in Arizona. And if you guys go to, it's unlisted on my YouTube, so you won't be able to find it unless you go here. But if you go to the actual document that we have and you scroll down under essential skills and click on continued personal and leadership development, it'll actually be the first video on here that you guys can watch. Right here, updated exposure pipeline that Jukes does. It's like 48, 50 minutes, and it's going to be really good for you guys to understand like the process of having conversations and kind of like setting the expectations for everything. I've gone through this, like we sat here and listened to him in person. I've gone through this call 3 times already. Just to really understand like what he's saying, writing everything down, the different types of questions, and not only that, but just like the mindset to have. So this is a video I definitely recommend. Not only you guys go through multiple times if you need to, but for those that are, if you have people on your team or when you have people on your team looking to build, this is going to be a really, really solid starting point to go through. So if you guys have any questions with that, you can let me know. But Christian really lays out the foundation. And one of the things that he talks about is tracking. He has everything on paper. He does it all on paper. He had his list. He brought it and showed us. But the way that he does it is he breaks it down in chronological order. And you guys have probably seen this before. I've had it, marked up in different ways, but this is the way that I have it right now. It's been working really well for me. I actually did a complete reset on my list, because I found that I was just reaching out to the same people and, you know, getting the same decision collected. No response. You know, somebody like not interested. And I was beating around the bush with all these people who weren't taking it seriously. So I was like, I need to like reset everything. So I started doing this late May, and it looks something like this. And it's cool because you guys can really see, wow, you know, this is when I started my tracker. For me, I started this on May 31st. Okay. And you guys can see, you know, in just in the last couple of weeks, 98 exposures, almost 100, 90 to 100 exposures, which is pretty cool to be able to like really see in depth. So how I'll just kind of break this down so you guys can see for your own, because Christian will walk you through, but you're not going to see a visual like this. Basically, you guys want to know who you're talking to, and I'll walk you through this and we can talk about it at, you know, afterwards. But how I've been able to really keep everything organized and keep everything kind of like, you know, in a functional tracker is I'll put their name. So most of the time I'll put their name and I'll put where I'm talking to them at: Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, text, whatever. Sometimes I'll put where they're from because the time zones are so crazy. So if they're like, you know, if they're in Germany, or if they're in India, or if they're, you know, in Australia, I'll put their country. So I'm like, okay, this person's a different time zone. I don't have to go back through my messages and see that. I already know. And the invite. So I've got the conversation, I've got the invite, and where I put the invite is I know I'll put why I'm sending it to them. So this guy right here, Chuck, he wants financial independence. He told me that. We had a conversation. He was like, Abby, I just want to be independent. I want to stop living in with my parents, you know, blah, blah, blah. Okay, this is what I'm putting down. And then I actually sent him multiple different exposures in the past, but this is the most recent one. I sent a video on May 31st. You guys can put the time if you want to. That's personal preference. I sometimes do, just depending on it. And then when I send them a video or a Zoom, or I get them out to an event, I'll say what I did: video, Zoom, event, whatever, on the day. And then on the follow-up, I'll put the date of the follow-up here. This can always change. Just because you follow up with them, you know, on June 2nd doesn't mean you may have another follow, you know, doesn't mean that you're not going to follow up with them again. So I'm always changing this. And for me, guys, I'm just giving you some pointers that have helped me if you're going to do something like this. I bold. So if we're in the month, like we're in the month of June, every date that's June, I put it in bold. So I can like go back and see pretty quickly, all right, these are my follow-ups for this month. Everything else is in July or August or whatever. And then with the decision, not everybody has a decision right here. Okay. So right now, some of these guys, no response. Some of these guys I sent links to who asked me to send links to get started, and they ghost me. So I'm like, all right, I know that you're not serious. Some of these guys, money to start, waiting for money to start. Some of them are not interested right now. No worries. I'm going to keep you on my list. And then in 3 months, I'm going to follow up with you with my results. Some of them are skeptical. Cool. I'm going to keep building that relationship. So you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm not looking for a yes or a no. I'm just wanting you guys to like, I just want them to like tell me, what is it? Like, do you guys want to do this or not? So having the decision column gets you to like actually find the decision, like get them to make a decision. I don't like beating around the bush. I like getting right to the point. So one thing that Tony and I were talking about, I think it was yesterday, like this girl, Maggie, okay? Hopefully she doesn't watch my YouTube video. I'm just kidding. But for example, you know, I haven't exposed her. I kind of know, like, I know the need, but I don't. She's a part of a couple different, you know, platforms and kind of bouncing from one thing to another. So I'm still developing a relationship with her. So I haven't exposed her, but she's still on my list because we're developing a conversation. Like what I'll do, guys, is if I'm talking, like I have a list of, let's say, for example, right here. I know I'm going through a lot, but if you guys have questions at the end, write it down. We can talk about it. So I have this little agenda, my morning routine. You guys can't read this, but I wrote down my morning routine. And I follow this practically Monday through Friday to a T. And one of the things that I do is I set out like a 2-hour window. You guys have to create your own, whatever works for you. But I'll set out like a 2-hour, hour and a half window where I'm taking 25 minutes to add 20 people on Facebook. I'm taking 25 minutes to add 20 people on Instagram. And I'm not just adding them like add. I'm actually liking a couple things, commenting, but I'm adding people that I can actually catch a vibe with. I can actually get in their inbox and give them a genuine compliment. Like, yo, like your page is dope. Like you are putting out like a ton of inspirational stuff. Like I love your vibe. Like you've got a lot of value that you bring to the table. What do you do? So I'm able to give a genuine compliment. I'm not just adding a bunch of random people. That's how you get frustrated and you never actually build conversation with anybody. So what I'm doing is I'm going on Facebook and I'm typing in Tai Lopez and I'm going to his most recent post. Or if you guys are in a group like the 67 Steps, okay, go there. Or you guys can go to Gary Vee or, you know, whoever else you want to go to. You can even go to like places. Like I'm in a college entrepreneur page, and it's dope because a lot of these guys are like in college or fresh out of college and they're looking for different things to do. They just don't know where to go. So I'm building relationships in there. And you guys can literally type in anything. You can type in like mindset groups. I'm spelling this wrong. You guys can type in like mindset groups, right? And then this millionaire mindset entrepreneur group. There's so many different groups on Facebook. Get into a couple and just like literally let me show you what I do. I'm in this millionaire mindset entrepreneurs club. Okay. Hopefully it'll let me go. Has anybody else's Facebook been like super slow? Because my internet is not slow. Like anything else that I do is pretty quick, but Facebook and Instagram have been like super laggy lately. If you guys are experiencing that, it's not just me. All right, anyways, I'll come. This is actually not the right page, but whatever. I could come here. I don't even know what this is. No, this is not it. Okay, this is it. Sorry. So some of these guys will make posts and you guys can post in the group too. You don't need to do it all the time, but you can post in here, start a conversation, and everybody that likes your post and comments, you can have a conversation. They're paying attention. You're relevant. You know, you're piquing curiosity. You can ask a question. Which parts of business do you like the best? Like some of these questions, you know, they are what they are. Share one tip on how to succeed in your niche. So I could comment every time I comment, I'll like it, and I can comment and I'll comment something thoughtful. You guys will see when you do this, when you have a thoughtful comment, people will like it. Like I've had comments where, you know, 7, 8, 10 people like it. And I'm like, dope, I'm adding all of you, unless they're a weirdo, but I'm adding all of you and I'm starting a conversation like, hey, I saw you in the XYZ group, you know, super, super down to connect with you. Whatever you want to say, you know, appreciate the love on the comment, you know, appreciate you, blah, blah, blah. Like however you want to say it, like it's just off the cuff, genuine conversation. But then you can start asking them, you know, what brought you to the group? You know, are you an entrepreneur? Are you in business? What do you do? And then you can just go about the conversation, form like always, and then you can invite them once you find the need, if you find the need, right? So this is just one way that I'm building relationships. I'm adding people. Cool. So this is what I do on Facebook. And then on Instagram, I'll go to Tai Lopez again. I'll go to Gary Vee. They post a lot on there, right? And I'll go to the comments. I'll like the comment. I'll add somebody and I'll go to their page. I'm like, yo, this guy's dope. I'll like a couple of their stuff and I'll inbox them. And if they have a story, I'll comment on their story as my inbox. There's so many different ways. And for those of you that are, you know, everybody is living somewhere. But one thing that we can do on Instagram is you can go to the search bar, you can go to tags, and you can type in the city that you're in, or maybe the city that you want to launch in or you want to work with, right? So a lot of times I'll do Tempe, Arizona, or Scottsdale, Arizona. Okay, so you guys can do that, and then you'll see a bunch of different posts that you can just go like, and then, you know, have a conversation, add people. Not everybody, here's the expectation. Not everybody's going to respond. And I think we get so caught up in the outcome, you know, what people are going to say and how they're going to respond of like, oh, this random person's getting in my inbox. If they're thinking that, like, they're not the right person you want to be talking with anyways. So don't be attached to the outcome. Just understand the more conversations we have, the more people we're adding, the more conversations we can have, and the more opportunities we're giving ourselves to actually share this with other people. And so anytime I'm adding people and we're actually having a conversation, Like, I don't just put people on here if I just added them. I'll put them on here if if we're having a conversation. So like this girl, I forget what her name is. Oh, her name's Kim something, but she's on Instagram. I like just did this before we did the call, and she had hit me up and we were talking. I think she's in Canada, and we were just talking, and she actually was telling me how she's working her job and she wants, financial independence. And I just sent her a video. Okay. So like, for example, I just put this in here and I'm going to follow up with her later today. Okay. So these guys I sent exposures to yesterday and I'm following up with them today. I could follow up with her tomorrow, but we're going to do this afternoon because we set up a time already. So cool. I'm adding that on here. So if I'm having a conversation with them and I'm building a relationship, I'll put their name right here and where I'm talking to them on. And then I can come back to my tracker as I'm following up with people and I can see, okay, I've been talking with Sammy, I've been talking with Roy, but where's the conversation going? I haven't found a need, right? So let me go back and check on that conversation. These guys as well, Max, Sam, Keenan, same thing. So it's really simple. I just kind of went into some detail for you guys to really understand, like, how I go about everything and what I'm doing to like not only add and start conversations, but how I'm tracking it all. So this is where I track not only the starting conversations, but also the exposure, their need, their why am I sharing this with them in the first place? Because that's my leverage. Somebody tells me they want to learn a new skill set. Somebody tells me they want financial freedom. They want to be a part of a community, whatever. That's my leverage. So that's their need, that's their why. And then I just plug in, what did I send them and when did I send them that information. And then, like, for example, Alex, can you tell them what you did this morning with your poll and the conversation that you got me in a group chat with that guy?
Yeah, so yesterday, the day before, I made a poll to see, like, I guess to, like, start new conversations also. But, yeah, I made a poll. A couple people said yes. Or the only answer was yes anyway. But a few people, clicked yes. So we sent them a message like, look, I have some info for you. If I send it to you, if I would you. And then a lot of them were like, yeah. So it started a whole bunch of conversations that I'd never even started before. And then today, some guy already watched it, and we already have him in a group chat. I have him in a group chat with Abby. But yeah, it just sparked the conversation. They said they wanted info. We used the if I would you, and then they said yes. Watch the video, group chat.
Dope. Yeah, and it's super cool because then she's adding everything. Like, she has her own tracker. She's adding everything to the tracker too. And like, that's how seamless it can be. Just like ask them what they like best. He actually responded back to her first, which is cool. What do you like best? Okay, cool, awesome. Like, relate. Do you have any questions? Yes, he has a ton of questions. Awesome. She's not even trying to answer those questions. She's immediately just saying, hey, I appreciate the questions. I had a lot too. I actually want to introduce you to my friend Abby. She's been really successful with trading. She's been able to help me, and I know she's going to be able to help you too. Preface in there, like, she's super busy because it gives credibility in a sense of, like, what's the word? Mike Sotero always talks about this. When you give people the reason, like, yo, they're like super busy, they're going to respect you more. That's what I'm trying to say. This isn't about, building my ego. You guys know this. This is just like, yo, we need to set precedents of, like, this person is very, very important. They don't have time to waste. So don't waste their time in the inbox, or don't waste their time, like, being late on the three-way call. So that's why we kind of preface it before. And then she just put us in a group chat. She didn't even wait for, their confirmation, because you don't need to. You're helping them out. And now we're in a group chat. We're probably going to set up a three-way call time, and we're going to be able to answer his questions and collect a decision, help him get started. Cool. So that's really it, what I wanted to share. Just like you guys do with trading, you track everything. Same thing with, when it comes to running a business. We have to know what our pipeline looks like. We have to know, like, who's coming in, who's making a decision, who's coming, like, who's going where, what's going on. and we have to be able to see that in real time. And for me, just one way to do that is through the Google Sheets and watching that video that Christian Jukes does, because he lays out honestly the expectations and really the process of exposing somebody all the way through the follow-up, all the way through actually getting them started. So I didn't want to take too long and kind of like just breaking this down, but I did want to make sure that everybody was clear. So if you have any questions or you want to bring up something that maybe we haven't talked about, please go for it.
Hey, just to clarify, what was I didn't quite hear what your question was on that poll, Alex.
Yeah, I think the question was, do you have a strategy to have money working for you? Was it something like that, Abby?
Yeah, do you have a strategy to get money to work for you? Something like that.
Actually. There's so many ways you can actually flip that too, so that's a really good way to force people to talk to you.
Yeah, like polls are really, really good because you can start conversations that way. The only thing, I don't know if you guys have experienced this, Instagram has become like super spammy, like tons of bots, tons of like, I don't know what you guys have experienced, but like anytime I see people now, I'm going to still do polls. I like didn't want to, but I'm going to still do them. So what I've been doing is anybody that's like not responding to me, but I see them on my polls again, I'm just blocking them. So I don't want to like deal with all the fluff. So that's just an example of what you guys could do too. But on Facebook, it's really good because Facebook is not as spammy, and you guys might see a lot of more like traction on Facebook too.
I need to get back on Facebook. I like stepped away. It was kind of how do I explain? I started doing like daily videos on a different Instagram page, and I was doing that for a while. So like I pulled away from Facebook. I know there's something about it I didn't really like. I think there was too much going on with the feed for me. But kind of like how you said with Instagram recently, I've been coming across like new chairmans or chairmans that I wasn't aware of. So started following new people, and I'm constantly getting follows and direct messages from either bots or people that are actually like copying these people's pages. So they're impersonating them and trying to direct message me. And obviously at this point, I've been hip to, I guess, the Nigerian prince for like 2.5 years. So anytime somebody comes in my inbox, I just immediately block them and report them too, just because they're a fake page. But I have been noticing that a lot lately. I've done a couple polls too, and like I think I'll get like maybe 10, 12 responses, and one of them is actually somebody I know, and the rest are just bots and stuff. So I didn't even think about blocking them either, which is a good idea. So yeah, I'm gonna start Facebooking.
Oh, I have a friend that, so mentioning his bots, I have a friend that he pays people for these bots. He makes money off of this on Instagram. People don't know about it. Like, he's an entrepreneur, so he's been working at it for a while. He makes so much money off it, though. I couldn't believe it when he told me. But yeah, that is what's going on. It sucks.
Yeah, just got to work around it. Block them, get them out of there, whatever you got to do. Pay attention to people that are actually like, wanting the info. But the other thing I was going to bring up too is, or maybe even just kind of ask, because I think we all understand at this point, like consistency with anything that we do is going to be the difference maker in us actually like getting, hitting the goals that we're going after versus coming up short, and missing them or whatever it is. So I think we all understand like where we want to go just requires our consistency in doing the little things. I just want to like kind of preface that and make that super clear. If anybody didn't know, you can do whatever you want, because I know we have a couple new people on here, but you can do anything that you want when it comes to this business. It's just your ability to stay consistent. I wanted to throw out a couple things too for those that aren't aware. A great way to start conversations on Facebook are through birthdays. Every day I do this at about 9 p.m. I like to do it at the end of the day because I don't want to talk this. I wouldn't want to talk about business on my birthday. Does that make sense? So I tell them happy birthday at the end of the day, and and then we can start the conversation for the next day. Like every time I set like a time, like an alarm at the end of the day, like, okay, cool, 8:30, I'm telling people happy birthday. And it's cool because like, as you guys build up your friends list on Facebook, you know, I have almost 3,800 friends on Facebook. So if you do the math, 365 days out of the year, that's about, 10 to 12 birthdays that I do on average per day. That's 12 new conversations. Not everybody's going to respond. It's cool. And birthdays are a great way to see if you want to keep somebody on your friends list, because you can go back and look in conversation and be like, yo, this person hasn't even responded to my last 3 messages. Bye. So like, you guys can gauge that too. But birthdays are going to be a great way to start new conversations. Because for me personally, I try to start like 40 to 50 new conversations a day. You guys are going to be different, just depending on what your goals are. You might start more conversations than me, depending on your goals, or you might start less. So birthdays can just, add a huge chunk to what you're already doing, and you can just continue to talk to people on your timeline. Plus, now that you have those conversations going, they're going to see your content on your Facebook. Because the more conversations I have, now that I'm having conversations with those people, I'm now seeing their content on my Facebook. So vice versa. What was I going to ask you guys? The other thing I was going to ask you is there anything else right now that maybe you want further clarity on, or an example of that, whether myself or somebody else on here can maybe help you with, and we can go over it right here, right now?
Well, for me, I know, I think because I'm kind of lucky because I have you like right on the other room. But for me, if I ever feel like I'm stuck in a conversation and I don't know where to go with it, I always go to you. Like, I don't know. It's almost like you can go through all these examples, but then once you're in the conversation, sometimes you get stuck. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like, don't be scared to ask, whether maybe Tony, Daniela, whoever, anyone on this call, like, hey, what would you say to this? Because kind of stuck. So I think that's the biggest thing. Just like, don't be afraid to ask questions, or like, how would you respond to this? Because it's very situational. And we can show all the examples in the playbook, but sometimes you literally get stuck. I'm always handing Abby my phone like, hey, can you help me with this? But yeah, I think that's my biggest thing.
Dope. Yeah, don't be a stranger. Caitlin, I know we have conversation too. She'll message me, shouting you out, girl, but she will message me and we'll have a conversation on how to, go about a conversation or go about a text. And I mean, you can tell them, I don't know if it's been super, super helpful. I hope that it is. It has been. But don't be afraid. I used to do that all the time in the beginning, because, Christian does a great job about the exposure pipeline, giving examples of, different questions that you can ask. Like, guys, I have an entire – I think I showed this on one call, but I'll show it again. Like, from that call that he did, I took so many notes and went back and redid the notes, like how to open a conversation, what to kind of say, what kind of questions to ask. What do I say when somebody asks me, what do I do? You know what I mean? Questions to build rapport, different ways to invite. If I showed you a platform that has been able to help me and my friend group achieve a little bit more time freedom, would you check it out? Just different ways to follow up. So you guys can take a look at that and really be able to see. I have all of this in my notes. I don't use all of it, but it's here as an easy way, easy access to reference. And there's great questions that he asks people to like curve the conversation if you notice that it's going in a meaningless direction. But sometimes we just don't know when we're in conversation. You know what I mean? We don't know what to say, and it's just repetition. You know, it's just practice. The more that I practice, like, I don't even need to look and reference my notes anymore. I know how to invite. I know what to say. I know, you know, how to go about things. But just more practice and repetition, and don't be afraid to reach out and ask for a different perspective. The conversation doc, Jack, we're gonna send you the video to watch. That way, because I want you to get your own perspective on it, and you can take your own notes from it, because it's gonna be a lot more powerful when you do it versus me just kind of giving it to you. We can chat about it after the call too. But yeah, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to reach out, send screenshots of maybe conversations that you're in, because once you get familiar of like how to go about the conversations and navigate, it's going to be a lot easier. And your skills when it comes to like building rapport and having conversations are going to grow, and you're going to be able to do this with your squad. Obviously we want to keep things duplicatable, you know what I mean? But I'm cool with, you know, helping you guys, because I had all the help in the world, and it really, really did allow me to grow in my process. The last thing, unless anybody else had anything to share or ask, I wanted to touch on this too. I know that we're doing, we still have the IM overview calls, the ones that start at 3 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. Those calls going on. I just wanted to kind of get where everybody's at with those calls. I'm going to still be rocking them, because I understand the big picture. For me personally, you know, the organization and the team and the business that I'm personally building, they're for everybody to tap into. If you want to message me for the day that you want to rock with. And as we get better at presenting and doing the intro, then we can all, you know, practice actually doing the actual presentation. But in the beginning, I started off I think, Josh, you just jumped on the call. We had a conversation about this yesterday. You know, which presentations what can I do to get better at learning the presentation? And I told him straight up, I was like, there's no like cookie cutter way to learn how to present. It's really just coming down to, like, for me, I found an overview that I liked the most, and I literally like had it on repeat in my car while I was driving, you know, sitting here, you know, doing the dishes, cleaning around the house, like doing other things instead of listening to music, you know, or that would be my personal development. I would be listening to, for example, Jason Brown's newest overview. I'm always listening to that so I can get better at how to present, because the company's evolving. And not only is it getting me better at presenting this, but I'm becoming a better speaker because of it. So it's all like, I see the bigger picture with everything. So if you want to get better with actually like sharing this, listen to an overview that you guys like the most. Matt's, Jason's. I know there's a ton of people that have their own overview. Listen to them. Jump on the overviews that we have. You know, you can pick up different things that maybe I do or Mike Sotero does. He has an 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time overview that he does too. But biggest thing with these calls is I'm looking at the big picture of like, what is it going to look like when we have a team of 200 plus, 300, 500, you know, 1,000, 2,500. So you guys can see the picture, right? Having a system like this already implemented, we're all, you know, just rock stars when it comes to sharing our story, introducing, edifying, and presenting. All of us on here are just rock stars at it. Now we can go out and really duplicate within our team. And I'm looking at this as, I'm not going to be the only one sharing this every single day of the week. You guys are not going to be the only ones sharing this. It's called a system for a reason. You know, there was 10 of us on this call, you know, so everybody has the ability for somebody on their team, 2 people, 3 people to step up and collaborate with the call together. So with these calls, if you want an intro, send me a message on the day that you want. Otherwise, if nobody's doing it for that day, I'm just going to run it, because I'm giving you guys the ability to take personal responsibility for, you know, what you want to get out of this business, what you want to get out of, you know, your process and your development as a whole. So if you want an intro, shoot me a message. And I think what would be really dope is if we all confirmed guests in the chat. So if you have a guest, post it in there. because it shows for accountability, you know. Or if, you know, I get like 1 to 2 guests on the Zoom every day. 1 to 2 guests, nothing crazy. We don't need like 5 or 10 from each person. 1 to 2. And then, you know, I'm always like, that's why I have this schedule written out like this, because it allows me to see, all right, everything that I'm doing is to promote for that Zoom at 12. And if they can't jump on the Zoom at 12, then I'm sending them a video recording. So, so that's what I do. That's what's been really helping me. But I want to hear from you guys. Does that sound cool? Does that work with for everyone?
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah, definitely love it.
Cool. 777. All right, y'all. Anybody else have anything that they want to share? Any thoughts? Anything they want to make a discussion about?
I'm a little curious about your schedule. Like you're not specifics on your morning routine, but how do you like schedule your morning, afternoon in terms of working your business and trading and everything else that goes into your day?
Yeah, my mornings, the first thing that I do in the morning is I'll wake up about 5, and I've got a book that I write my gratitude and my goals in. So you guys can see everything that I put in here is on a day-to-day basis. I'll put like a few lines, 3 things that I'm grateful for, and the goals that I'm setting out to hit for that day. Takes me like 5-10 minutes go through that. And then afterwards, I'm on the charts at like 5:15, 5:30 for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Monday and Friday, I'll just turn on somebody, whoever's on. Sometimes it's Manny. So whoever's live at that time, it might be someone different every time. I know Patrick Kenny goes on, Abel Melendez goes on, things like that. But Tuesday through Thursday, I'm watching Luke and Kim from 6 to 7:30, because not only are they going over, you know, market awareness, what's going on in the world and how it's relaying to the market right now, but I'm also getting live trade ideas, live trade setups with them. So I'm doing that till about 7:30. So I'm getting in my actual trades, and I'm also getting in a go live session. Dope. Perfect. Check. And then from there, and I'm also referencing the scanner. I always have the scanner pulled up. And then from there, the schedule is for me to work out. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But for there, I have about an hour and a half of time blocked out to work out. And then I get home and I am I'm showering, I'm eating. And then from there, I have 2 hours blocked to just literally like add new people and start new conversations. Half of those conversations, and then I'm replying to messages. So 2 hours of just adding people on Facebook, adding people on Instagram, replying to messages, repeat. And the whole goal is I'm promoting for the Zoom call at 12. And if they can't get on the Zoom call at 12, then we're doing a recording, or I will try to get them on, depending on who's doing the call at 8 p.m., I'll get them on the call at 8 p.m. Eastern. I'll just be very honest, guys. I'm very particular with who I get people in front of, like who I'm getting my prospects in front of as far as like sharing information. I don't get them in front of anybody that just like, if somebody's presenting, it doesn't matter. I'm very particular about who I'm getting them in front of to listen to present. Does that make sense? Like I won't just get them in front of anybody. So I'm very particular about that. And then in that time, I'm like writing my social media post and I'm posting that. And then afternoon is meant for 3-ways, group chats, trainings, calls, and then again, more follow-ups and replying. So my whole day, I treat it like an 8-hour workday because I'm not working, you know, I'm not working a job. So like, this is my quote unquote, my job. So I treat it like, all right, cool. What am I going to knock out in this 8-hour period to grow my business?
Gotcha. I definitely appreciate that. I think you guys are an hour ahead of me. What time is it over there? It's like one something, or are you guys 2 hours?
We're same time zone. Arizona same
You guys are
time.
in the same time zone?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I sometimes feel like I'm behind on the day because just being on PST, it's kind of like we're 3 hours behind everyone else. So I've been trying to like not overdo my mornings, but I'm realizing I can actually get them done. I just can't give myself any real breathing room. Like I have to jump from one thing to the next so that I can actually stay in that schedule. Um, and I'm wondering if I should just remove some of these things out of here because like I have my I have my dog who is constantly like I have to walk him at a certain time, got to feed him at a certain time because if not he starts getting antsy or whatnot. So I sometimes feel like I have to even schedule him to do specific things, and I was just trying to get more of a feel of if I should change what I'm doing because I'm not doing any morning gratitude, which is something that I have been wondering when I'm going to incorporate it because I wake up at 4:30, but I'm still very much half asleep until I take a cold shower. That's been a staple. Cold showers have been a staple for months now, but I went from doing it at night to doing it in the morning to wake up because I was going to bed at 2 a.m., waking up at 8 a.m. to do London session. But once I was waking up at 8 a.m., I felt like by the time I actually got moving, my day was over. And it sounds kind of dumb because it's still only like 9, 10 o'clock, but it's almost getting to the afternoon and it's like, I feel like I'm rushing. And so that's why I'm I'm on, trying to wake up at the same time you guys are waking up, also to catch Kim and Luke's session as well, which have been really good. If you guys aren't tuning into those, for sure, a lot of nuggets. Um, but yeah, I will definitely take a lot of things that you're doing into consideration and start applying them.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I remember Ed Milet. If you guys know who he is, he has his like Max Out podcast. He's on Instagram, really really good. He talks a lot about how like we can condense time, and he works in like 4 hour increments, and he can get most like practically everything that he needs done for the day in those 4 hour increments. So like that's how I think about like my morning is like, yo, I can do everything that I need to do, trade, reply to messages, follow up, get 3 to 4 exposures, even get in a go live session like a 4 to 5, sometimes 6 hour period, and then everything else that I do that day is just a cherry on top, just adding to my business and my pipeline. So cool. Anything else? Anybody?
Yeah, I just have a quick question. So like I've just been like starting my Instagram because I've been pretty inactive, and like I was just wondering like, what's the proportion of people that like you have a good conversation with on Facebook compared to Instagram? Like, am I missing out from not like being active on Facebook or yeah?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I've noticed like Facebook is not, I wouldn't say like more professional. It's all like in your friend group, but I think it's whatever you make of the platform that you're on. Like there's opportunity in every platform. It's just what are you paying attention to and really like staying consistent with. So I think it really starts with like the actual like page, your Facebook page, your Instagram page, because when I inbox somebody, the first thing that they're going to do is look at my actual Instagram, and it tells a lot about you before you even have to say anything. It gives off, are you a credible, trustworthy person? You build up somewhat of respect when they go to your page, depending on like what you're posting about, your messages, your content, the value that you're bringing to the table. So it's not like you're missing out on one or the other. I take advantage of both. It's really just, are you staying consistent with actually posting valuable content to, let people know who you are, and give that little insight of, you documenting your journey, and what are you actually paying attention to? Because if you're paying attention to Instagram, you can build on Instagram. If you're paying attention to Facebook, same thing. Is that helpful?
Yeah, no, I hear you. Like, I guess my problem is I don't really know how to grow like a personal page, or I don't really know what content to post. Like, you know what I mean? I guess like getting started is the hardest thing, and like, yeah.
Yeah. Getting started. What did we watch? We watched, Alex and I watched a movie last night. It was called Onward. If you guys ever seen it, it's a cartoon with Chris Pratt. Anyways, it was funny because in one of the parts of the movie, the kid was learning how to drive, and it was in like this really like hyper intense scenario. And his brother, you know, he goes out and shouts, you know, I'm not ready. I can't do this. And his brother was like, you're never going to be ready. You got to. And it just was like, you know, a really cool moment of like, wow, that's so true. You know, we're never going to be ready. We're never going to know like how to start or, you know, when to start. You know, never, one moment is never going to be perfect timing. You know, I think the best thing that I've heard from somebody like Gary Vaynerchuk is when it comes to like putting, you know, just doing things, because he's all about content, is you really got to make sure that what you're putting out not only means something to you, but document your journey. You know, when you're putting things out, people just want to see who you are, and in the most real, authentic, genuine way possible. So for Instagram, you could start off by putting out, you know, those quote photos. A lot of times people are like, well, I don't have any photos of me, or, you know, I don't, whatever. Well, we can fix that. You know, I would, if Alex and I didn't live together, if we weren't together, I would tell my squad out here, yo, like, we're going to go do a photo shoot, and we're going to have photos for like 3 weeks, and we're going to go to different places, and we would take photos together. That's what we would do. Or if I didn't have anybody around me, I would be like, okay, cool, I'm going to take a selfie, take another selfie. Or you can get a tripod and you can set it up and take a photo of yourself. Got to get creative. But to start off, like, you can just put out quotes on your page, and you can follow up and give a little meaning behind, like, what does this quote mean to you? And then you're going to build your following that way, adding people. You know, the right people are going to come to you based on the value that you're putting out and the consistency that you have, you know, by doing what you're doing.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Like, I started an Instagram page, like a theme page, like a motivation and mindset one, because I don't really know what to post on my personal as of right now. I decided like I might as well at least try grow a page in the right niche, and then like when I'm ready, kind of like transfer people over, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, just remember, people buy into you.
Yeah.
You know, people don't usually like get started with me because they wanted to learn how to trade. I did not get started because I wanted to learn how to trade. I got started because I was looking for financial independence. Like, I wanted to get to a point where I could like not stress about bills, you know, not live paycheck to paycheck. So people are going to see you and your journey, and you know, the value that you're putting forth every single day, and they're going to buy into that. So I don't know if you're going down this route, but don't think that you have to post about trading and Forex or anything like that. I mean, you can drip on people in your stories, but your whole page doesn't have to be, and it shouldn't be about trading or Forex or I Am Mastery Academy. It's got to be about you. So Jack, I would get really real, you know, write down on a piece of paper, if you haven't already, you know, write down why you're doing this, okay? Why you're doing this, and where is this taking you? And then document your journey. You know, what is your, you know, what are you doing today? Like, if you go to my Instagram, or somebody like Jason Brown, Jason's Instagram is pretty crazy right now. He's super, super next level. But you can go to anybody, you know, any of us on this call, we can drop our Instagrams in here. We can drop them in the I Am Family chat, and we can just go at each other, and we can hold each other accountable and see what we're doing in, you know, on our pages. But I think the biggest thing for all of us is, you know, if you're having trouble starting something and you're really hesitant, really write down, you know, why am I doing this in the first place, and where am I going? Because that's what you document about. That's what you post about, your journey that you're on. Is that helpful?
Yeah, no, I hear you. Like for me, I just need to like do something for like maybe like a couple months, and then once it becomes a routine, I'll be good. But I just need to get to that level first.
Yeah. Some people want to see you, some people, like, here's the thing. Some people want to be able to see you in these beginning stages. Like, bro, in like 2 years or even in 12 months, you're going to look back and be like, damn, I wish I would have documented those early stages of my journey of when I didn't know what the heck I was actually doing, when I was scared shitless, all these other things. Like, I didn't even know where to start, but I started. So sometimes just pulling that trigger and just going for it, even if you don't even know what to do or where to go. Like, pull stuff from us. Like, I don't care if anybody takes what I post or put out. You don't need to give credit back. I don't care. Take whatever you need to. If you guys are having trouble like making posts, like, this is literally what Alex and I do. I'll pull a book. I love this book, Compound Effect, and I'll flip to a page. Who was I telling this the other day? I think I was telling Josh. I can't remember. But I'll flip to a page and I'll read a couple pages and I'm like, damn, this is good. And something will resonate with me. I'll write it down and I'll write a little bit more about it in my own words. Post. And I don't care about my likes. I don't care about my engagement, because that will hold you back to actually making the post, to actually pressing upload or whatever the word is. So, Jack, if you have more questions with it, send me a message after this call and we can chop it up and talk about it. But we're all here to help. If you're not in the team chat on Instagram, I'll add you to it. That way you can like really get to see the culture in the team. But anybody else have anything they want to add or want to share? This is a great call today. Or are we Gucci? All right, we Gucci. All right, y'all. I appreciate you for being on this call, for staying here with us, for asking questions, for being present, for bringing your energy. These calls, again, are really just about bringing us together, this core foundation, what I've been calling the inner circle. And I appreciate all of you guys. We're on to something really, really special. I believe it. And I'm super, super excited to see where everybody's going to be at over the next 90 days. Just stay consistent. Let's ask questions. After this call, jump into the I Am Family chat. Just post your Instagram. I'll post mine in there and we can start something and get everybody going. So appreciate y'all. Have a great Saturday, great weekend. Oh, and tomorrow, I think Caitlin had to jump off really quick, but Caitlin is doing the Zoom to Success call tomorrow. Y'all, if you know who Caitlin is, you don't know who she is, you got to jump on. You got to listen to her story. Tomorrow's call is going to be awesome. We've got some really cool questions. So any of your team should be on this. It's going to be great for like just students and customers within the academy. And any guests that you have that are on the fence that have seen an overview, you can have them jump on these calls, because we're not going into, you'll see if you've been on these calls, you understand like what these are really about. But these are going to be really good because the whole point of this is relatability, building people's belief, making sure that they're on track, and being able to relate to other people that are on the call that are maybe doubting themselves, or, in an area of their life where they maybe aren't seeing their progress or their results, but they know that they're still on track and they got to just keep going. So that's what these calls are about. Caitlin's rocking it so far. Tomorrow, she's been a part of the academy for 3 years. So I'm excited to see her journey and what she's going to share. But other than that, y'all, peace out, peace and love. Talk to y'all later.